Welcome in, Niall Stanage, now White House columnist with our partner, The Hill. Niall, you just heard from a representative with the Women for Nikki coalition. What are your thoughts?
I think that the arguments that she makes are the whole heart of Nikki Haley's case, to do with electability, the idea that Nikki Haley currently is the candidate with momentum in this race. I do think that the big caveat is, yes, Nikki Haley has been rising in the polls. Nationally, she lags former President Trump by about 40 points. Now, Natasha, we're now roughly 2 months from the Iowa caucuses. Is she going to close that size of a gap in that period of time? It's a difference between having momentum and closing such a yawning gap.
What does that path look like to closing a gap of that magnitude, would you expect?
I just think it's very difficult because there are an enormous number of Republican voters who are just loyalists to former President Trump and will not be shaken loose from that position. Now, I do take the point that Jennifer made in her interview with you, which is that Nikki Haley is genuinely seeking to appeal to a different cohort within the Republican Party. It's a more traditional Republicanism, I would say, than that of former President Trump. And certainly from the polling, it would appear that she appeals more to socially and economically upscale Republicans. That tends to be more of her base. But you still are left with this big gap. And we'll just have to see whether it will significantly get closed anytime soon.
And let's talk about this issue of abortion. On Friday, she was asked whether she would support a 6-week ban. She's in front of this specific audience of conservative Christians in Iowa at the time, and she says yes, that essentially it should be left to the states. Does she risk alienating moderates and that key demographic of suburban women?
I think she does if she is backing or saying that she would sign a 6-week ban. Nikki Haley is in an interesting position on this issue, not only because she's the only woman in the Republican race, but because she has made the argument that Jennifer outlined in your interview about there being no national ban. She doesn't propose that that is doable, even though she herself is pro-life. That stance is one of the things that makes her more electable in a general election. It does not alienate voters in the middle ground. The problem is, it doesn't matter how electable she is in a general election unless she becomes the nominee. The first step to becoming the nominee is Iowa. Iowa has an enormous number of evangelical voters within the Republican caucuses. Does her stance on abortion put those caucus goers off? That's the kind of needle she's trying to thread here, and it's a very difficult needle, politically speaking.
Let's talk about the former president, because Mr. Trump was in Texas today. He officially got that endorsement from Governor Greg Abbott. Can you talk about how big of an endorsement this is for Trump, or does it mean more for Abbott politically? And one more thing, if we can weave into that, Niall, is this a blow for DeSantis?
Well, I think that every endorsement that goes to Trump from a big name is a blow to DeSantis. In fact, I think that's the core of its importance. Everyone who endorses Trump is off the table for DeSantis. So DeSantis did get that boost somewhat against the odds in Iowa when the governor there endorsed him recently. Greg Abbott in Texas going with Trump is not a huge surprise. I mean, they clearly both share, for example, pretty hardline views on immigration. But it does suggest that big names in the party are lining up with the former president. Deprives Governor DeSantis, or for that matter, Ambassador Haley, of getting those kind of people on board with them. And so to that extent, it matters. But ultimately, any election in the Republican Party that has Donald Trump on the ballot, it's going to be decided by people's view of Donald Trump, not who has endorsed him or who hasn't.
Okay, Niall Stanage, appreciate the context and time. Thank you so much.
Thank you.
And remember, NewsNation is your home for the next Republican primary debate. The GOP presidential candidates will square off in a live primetime event at the University of Alabama Wednesday, December 6th. SiriusXM's Megyn Kelly and NewsNation's own Elizabeth Vargas will moderate the 2-hour event in partnership with the Washington Free Beacon. The NewsNation Republican primary debate live from the University of Alabama Wednesday, December 6th, 8 p.m. Eastern, 7 Central. Thank you for watching. Go to newsnationnow.com to find NewsNation on your television provider. And don't forget to click the red subscribe button below to get more of NewsNation's fact-driven, unbiased coverage.